Welcome back to We're Not the Same. I'm Katie.
And I'm Brian.
And today we're going to be doing a little marriage, relationship Q&A, walk down memory lane, share a little bit of our story, all of the above. Just have a good time with it.
We're super excited.
Let's dive in.
Well, before we dive in, either you guys love us or hate us because we have a bunch of 5 stars and 1 star. So we just ask you guys, if you're enjoying any of this content, please go out there and rate us 5 stars. It really helps boost this so others can hear it. We recognize that some of this content is not the most PC and loved by a lot of folks, but we just want to spread truth and hopefully impact you and the lives of your family. So if you could take a second and just rate us 5 stars, that would be super helpful. We appreciate it.
So this is our first episode of the new year. Happy New Year 2024. And we wanted to kind of start off kind of going back a little bit. We were looking back at the episodes we've recorded so far, and we never really started out with like a get to know us or anything because I think we knew just our existing audience would mainly be listening. But now that this is like we're calling our season 2, I think we want to, have a little more content that's getting to know us and mixed in, of course, with all the other topics that we love to share. So today we're going to be talking all about marriage, relationship, maybe some advice or just our 2 cents on things. And we have some questions that some you guys asked, some we just came up with on our own. So we'll just kind of go back and forth. And
a lot of it we didn't prep for. So I came up with questions and Katie found questions. So this will be kind of on the spot thinking to see what our answers are, compare answers, see how we do here.
Yeah, we did not share the interview questions beforehand.
Yes.
So,
but we think at least some of my questions I think would be good, and I'm sure yours are too. Great questions to ask boyfriend or girlfriend or spouse, fiance. Just great questions to build a relationship and learn more about them and all that good stuff. So we'll see where it goes.
All right. Well,
maybe a hint of my theming.
But just for the general overview, So we met in high school and started dating in high school. We were both 16.
Yep.
And the rest is history. I mean, that's pretty much it. There's not a lot of crazy ups and downs like some relationships have. Of course, we have our ups and downs, but
I think
nothing like major.
Yeah, we separated very quickly. Or not very quickly. Well, not very quickly, but briefly in high school. Yeah. I think when we were deciding between colleges and stuff. I don't know. It was like a day, 8 hours, 7 hours, 5, 2 hours.
It was a week.
Yeah. Oh, a whole week.
Yeah.
Oh,
and your little sister made me a little card that was like, I miss you.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Because she was like 5 or 6.
Yeah. I could see that. I could see Avery doing that or something.
Yeah, a week was a long time to her. But I mean, I think we still talked every day, and we still
we were in high school
only
people.
talked to each other. But anyway, so yeah, we went to the same high school, obviously, went to the same college, did the same major, graduated at the same time, started our same job together.
Did the same internships, did the same job together. Yeah, we're basically the same person, but
yes,
different.
I always tell people we're the same person but different gender.
Yeah.
No, we actually have a lot of differences.
We do.
More similar than different.
Yeah.
So that is, the overview. We just celebrated our anniversary at the end of December. 8 years married.
Going strong. 8 years married and 15 years together. Yeah.
15 years together. So
yep.
Approaching half our life together.
That's awesome. Better together. We've always said that.
Yep.
And we have a house. We have 2 kids and 1 on the way. All right. That's the synopsis.
All right. That's us in a nutshell. So who wants to go first?
You can go first.
Okay. Dun, dun,
Question number 1.
I feel like I know what your answer is going to be to this.
Okay. Let's do it.
What was your first thought about each other?
First
not even first impression, but just, I guess it is first impression, but your first thought about each other.
I think, I was in high school, so you were pretty good looking. Katie was, in good shape and very attractive. And, I think also just good, we met in an AP AP Human Geography class.
Oh, yeah.
So I think I just knew, you were smart and intelligent and
just based on my presence in the class.
Yeah. Yeah, your general aura and being in that class. So, yeah. I mean, as a high school boy.
Yeah, that's 16, pretty good. I thought he was going to say, I have no idea.
That's my answer to a lot of things, but I'm going with that.
Okay, we'll go with that. No, I specifically remember, of course, the date, time, place. No, I'm just
clothes. Katie always knew, at least for most
Actually,
of our
I do. I could probably
remember what clothes I was wearing.
I mean,
and her.
I remember in high school, I used to wear polo, like a Hollister polo, and just like shorts. I mean,
Cargo
basically
shorts,
the same thing you do now, except it was like a Hollister polo every day.
That's right.
This was in the like early 2000s. So.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
But I remember that same class, the human geography class, the first day of ninth grade, and I remember you were like the first boy that I had seen that I thought was cute.
Oh, okay.
In high school, you're meeting all these new people and all that. So
that's fair. Yeah.
Like waiting to find like, okay, who am I gonna like have a crush on this year? And it was you.
All right. Let's expand on that. So, what 3 traits of mine made you fall in love with me?
Fall in love with you? Well, I think just the way that you treated me, always just being caring and loving, and you were never somebody that like treated me like crap or something.
Well, that's good.
I think your drive, I guess, you're even back then, very driven, very wanted to be on top, like leading this, leading that, and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And 3, let's see.
I got 2. I'll go with that.
I would say just your personality, just like always happy, always friendly, smart.
Yeah.
Just those like personality traits.
Nice. Yeah. So back to you. So the 3 for you, I think what really made me fall in love with you, one was your like love of me. So like how much you cared for me and really wanted the best in me and wanted me to do my best and all of that. You just really cared. I could tell cared deeply about me. So I love that about you. I loved your decisiveness. You were very...
Did you know?
I did. It was helpful. You knew what you wanted. You knew what you wanted to do and where to go and all of that. And I really appreciated it. That was refreshing. So I really...
Love it or hate it.
I love it. I married you, so I must have loved it.
I know. It was like a thing that people love or hate about me.
Yeah, true. And then I think another one was just your beauty and just how gorgeous you are.
Thanks.
And just same thing, like there's nobody else that's as pretty as you.
Oh,
to this day. It's true. All right, what do you got for me?
Who made the first move?
You did.
Yeah, I did.
You made most of the...
I made all the moves.
You made a good majority of the moves. Oh, praise God.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't wait around forever, so had to just put it out there. I'm pretty sure like how we started dating, because I was like, well, are we going to date? Are we going to be boyfriend and girlfriend or not? He's like, yeah, I guess so. Held your feet to the fire.
Yeah.
But who said I love you first?
I did.
And then
you rejected it. Then you yelled at me.
Because it was like a month in. He's like, I love you.
No, you don't.
I was like, you don't. There's no way that you like love me after 1 month. It's not real
Take
love.
it back. Take it back. No, that was good.
That's what you told the other girls.
That's
I want the
right.
real love.
Yeah.
And I got it.
It's
Never
true.
settle, ladies.
Very true.
I think most people that listen to this are already married, so.
Yeah. So on that point, my next question is related to that of not dating until you were 16. So obviously there was really no like
What's the question?
The question is, how was it waiting to date until you were 16? Would you change it like looking forward for
yes,
like
I would
our
change
girls
it
or
to
others?
25 for our girls.
Okay. I think any parent will say that. But like, how was like I did as a guy, and I think this is fairly consistent with people I grew up with. Like, there was never really a restriction on like going out with a girl or dating somebody.
Yeah, weren't you like dating girls in elementary school or something ridiculous?
Yeah, I like went on a date in elementary school and middle school and stuff. You know, it's so cool when your parents like drive you to the movies or. Yeah, I was experienced in my.
Oh yeah.
But obviously, you did not have that experience because you had your. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know at what point my parents said, you're not dating till you're 16. Probably once all my friends started dating, which was in like middle school. More, I guess you could say, serious date. I don't think you can like seriously date in middle school, but I had like crushes on boys and stuff, but it was just known like you're not dating until you're 16.
Yeah.
And at the time, I feel like, I don't know, I'd have to ask my mom. I feel like I never really cared too much. It was never like a huge issue. But at the same time, of course, all your friends have their little boyfriends or whatever. And, I couldn't partake in that. I think the most that it bothered me was like once I met you, which was at 14.
Yes.
And you knew I couldn't date. I don't know how somehow you knew that I couldn't date until I was 16. And so like you were just dating other people. So that was a little hard to sit by and watch. But as soon as I was 16, I got a boyfriend.
Yes.
Which was like, what do you even call a boyfriend? But that's what I claimed
it was not me.
As. Yeah, it was not you because you were dating somebody else. So I was like, well, I'm 16 now.
Let's do this thing.
But I mean, we went on like 2 dates, I think. So it's really not, you're talking about a 16-year-old here. Like my mom drove me. And I think his mom drove us to the second one. So not that deep.
Yes.
But for our kids, I mean, my, probably just comes with age, but then also with growing in our faith and wanting our girls to have a strong faith growing up. Like, I don't think that dating is really like a thing. Like, you should date for marriage, which ultimately we did, but we didn't necessarily know that at the time. So I think at 16, you could maybe be friends with a boy, be getting to know a boy, learning about how to have a relationship with someone of the opposite sex, I guess. Since we're about to have a son, so I should think about him too. But like, you're not like dating. I'm like on board with the Duggars on this one, like chaperone,
Well, it's really interesting.
Or like a group date, like a hangout. There doesn't need to be this pairing off of 16-year-olds, but obviously, we'll have to see when we get there. But that's my feeling right now. Is like, no.
Are you more experienced?
You don't need to be alone in your room with the door shut with a boy when you're 16 to 18. Like, absolutely not.
I'm sure all the more experienced parents are laughing their heads off. Interesting, probably thinking
best
about
laid plans, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting too, because like, I don't know if I ever. I mean, obviously, dating. There's the excitement of like being with someone of the opposite sex and that like.
Yeah, that's the problem.
That's the portion.
The excitement.
That is. That's true. But like, I don't know, at least for me, I don't remember ever thinking like, I don't think I was thinking every time of like, oh, I want to like marry this or like an intent. I don't know. For me, I don't know if I had the intent of just like dating just to like have a good time or something.
Well, we were so young. Like,
I mean, what did we know?
When we were in college, most people are having more like real dating experiences when you're in college and when you're out of college, first starting your career. So we don't know what that's like.
Yeah.
But the just being so young. And I mean, my mom told me like she was concerned with me having such a serious relationship from such a young age.
I would be too.
We were serious kids. Like, we weren't just doing whatever. Like, we were very focused on school, like all the things that I think parents worry about. Like, we never affected our grades and never, we never broke the rules in order to do anything together. Like, we always were still us.
Always made curfew Although it's funny because our parents' houses are like a mile from each other. So when there's that 11 o'clock deadline, I think we left houses at like 10:58 and we were squealing into.
Well, but was that even in high school or was that more like in college?
Did we have a curfew in college? Is it self-imposed curfew?
No, I'm pretty sure I still had to be home. Like if I'm pretty sure I still had to be home by a certain time. Like if I was at home.
Yeah.
Obviously, when we were at school, we could do whatever we wanted.
Yeah, but
which we didn't. Like we didn't do whatever we. I mean, what we wanted was to still be just good kids. Like we went out like 5 times in college.
Oh,
once
that's
a year.
Generous. Yeah.
Yeah, once a year. We were there for 5 years. We probably went out once a year.
Yeah, that's true. We're pretty. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we've always been like boring.
Yes.
Old people. Like we liked to go to Target for fun
and eat. Do a lot of eating.
And eat. Yeah.
I still do that. It's probably some of our favorite things to do.
That's all we do now. Eat.
Yep.
For dates.
Anywho, got off a little bit.
But anyway, so what do you think for your kids now, like for your daughters and for your son? Has your perspective changed? Is it going to be a free for all or what?
No, definitely not a free for all. I think it's instilling early, and this was one of my questions that I can save or we can dive into now of like, how much did you talk about relationships or experiences, like the purposes of relationships and all of that growing up with your parents? So like, this is where I think, as we think about like when to date and all that, it's a little bit what you said of like, I want to be having conversations now about like why we, the purpose of marriage, the purpose of getting together, why God created us to do these things. Like we've already talked about like, when girls ask questions, like, we'll help you find the right guy. Like we'll help, we want, God-fearing man. So like, I just think it needs to be a constant conversation starting early on to just build the why. Just like we've always said in our parenting, like we are always going to explain the why, and it's never just going to be like, don't do this.
Yeah.
Or don't do that. I mean, obviously there's moments where you have to just say
don't touch the stove.
Yeah. But we tell our girls even now, like, and they definitely don't do it all the time. But like, if we tell you to do something, we're here to like watch out for your safety and all of that. So like, do it, and then you can ask us questions about like why it was so,
and vice versa. Yeah, like with not doing things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But anyway, I think that's
yeah.
My thought is like, I don't know if there's like you can't date till you're 16 or you can't date till you're 17 or whatever it is. I think you should do it later in life, like at least minimum of those ages, but there should be intent behind it.
Mm-hmm. So what? Yeah, like what would be the intent to date at 16? There isn't any.
Yeah, it's just hard because we're in that experience of like that's what we did and it worked out for us.
Yeah, but if we smoked drugs our whole life, we would tell our kids not to do that. Like kids don't have to do everything just because you did it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's just keeping the lines of communication open with them through all the phases of life. And I mean, I don't know what conversations I had with my parents over the years, but I told my mom everything, awesome. Especially my mom, like just like I still do today. Like I saw some meme that was like me 30 years old on the phone with my mom. When are these kids going to stop being so needy? Well, you're still calling me every 3 hours to ask for something, so I don't know.
I'm still waiting.
Yeah. So that's but I mean, that's what I hope my kids are.
I know.
I don't know what it's like with a son, maybe not quite as talkative, but I still hope that he'll come to me and us for like the bigger life decisions and stuff like that.
Yeah, I hope so.
That was a good one. So how did you know she was the one?
Well,
it's like a question to both of us. It's not a pronoun conversation.
Wow. How did I know you were the one?
Yeah.
I just got to the point like I couldn't imagine life without you. Like you became my best friend, and I said at the beginning of the podcast, it's better together. Like I feel like through college and through all of our time together, we were always better, meaning like we fought less, we just felt better, like all of that when we were together. And I was like, why would I want to do any life without you? So I think that was the big decision. Or what was the question?
How did you know I was the one?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that answered it.
Okay.
I feel like I don't really know. I mean, I guess you could say it was like divine intervention in a sense. Like, I don't think I actively thought from the get-go, like, oh, I'm going to marry him. But I don't think there was ever never a time where I didn't think that we were, like, I never thought about our relationship ending, really.
Mm-hmm.
Even when we, like, broke up for a week or whatever. Like, I don't know. Like, maybe it's just looking back, but I feel like I knew it wasn't permanent. You know, like, that wasn't really the end.
Yes. Yeah, that's fair.
But the other time, that I really was like, okay, yeah, like, we're gonna be together was when we realized that we had our first communion together. So we knew we grew up going to the same church. But at some point after we had been together for like a couple of years, I think we found through old pictures and videos that we had our first communion together. And because of our last names, we had been standing exactly right next to each other. And in both of our home videos, like, you would think your home video would have you in the center of the frame, every frame, and then you'd have like half a kid on either side of you. No, in both of our home videos, it was me and him, like, the entire time. And so it's just like,
God was
so
working.
crazy. Like, there was some girl next to me on the other side, but she's like barely in the video. You know, it's all me and Brian.
And
he looked exactly the same as he does right now, just this smaller.
Profile shot.
Yeah, that's how I was like, saw the picture. I was like, that looks like Brian's head.
I have a distinct head.
So that was a pretty crazy moment of just like, whoa, we really, like, yeah, we're meant to be together.
Yeah. I feel like I don't typically include that. Like, that's like a testimony for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like, totally God's plan for us all the way back.
I agree.
And that's the same church and altar where we were holding hands where we ended up getting married too.
Yep.
So full circle. Okay. So we've been getting in really, really deep, really good, meaningful questions. I've got just a throw out there one.
Okay.
Okay. When I'm not home and you're alone, do you shut the door if you're using the bathroom?
No.
Okay. Me neither.
And if I ever do, it's immediately opened by one of two little girls.
That's true.
Like, I mean, I could try, even when you are home and I try to close the door. I mean, that's a question. A lot of married people, they don't shut the door to the bathroom.
Oh.
Like, they, number one or number two, they just let it fly with the other one right there. I just cannot do that. I'm sorry. I need my privacy.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, the kids are always with me, so there's
true.
no sense in shutting the door.
Yeah, even when that's true. When I'm home and the girl, so Georgia slams it open. She's like sneaks in and just like, yes, Georgia, and she just like slides it open.
Oh yeah, there's no sneaking with me. It's just usually
mine
right there.
Okay.
That's
there you
funny. Go. Do soulmates exist? Back into the deep.
Back into the deep. Do soulmates exist? Sounds like a Nicholas Sparks movie.
Okay, Nicholas Sparks would definitely say yes.
Yeah. I would say yes. Like, absolutely. Because I believe that, marriage and putting people together is a blessing from God. So it's, of course, I believe that God has a plan and a pairing for everyone. And so yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely believe soulmates exist. I was listening to some other podcast where they had that question. That's where I got it from.
Nice.
And they were saying no, like, because what if you lived over here and, like, what if you were in Europe and I was in America? Like, how would we ever meet or all this? And it's like, no, like, if you're meant to be together with someone, then God's going to make the other person come to Europe. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I believe that, at least for the Christian, like, there's somebody, the perfect person that God has planned for you, predestined spouse for each of us. So, like, I mean, that's why we pray for the girls' future spouses and pray that they're being brought up without seed oils and other things. No, that's not like the number one thing, but we certainly pray that whoever God has for them is being brought up in a good way and having a good life so far.
For sure. Yeah, that actually was one of my questions. So kind of roping back to the 3 traits of mine that made you fall in love with me. Now, knowing what you know, what 3 traits would you want our girls' future husbands to have?
Honesty, integrity, and respect. The same things I want our girls to have and our son too.
Yeah.
Like those are the most important things to me. We were just talking about this last night. That's why it's kind of a funny answer. But no, I mean, I guess I would first include that they love Jesus and follow God and are going to put God first and be a leader for our girls in that aspect. But then for sure, honesty. Like I'm just honesty, because to me, honesty is respect.
Well, yeah.
And honesty is integrity. Like honesty encompasses so many things. Like honesty is loving. Honesty is kind. All of these things, like there's really nothing for me that comes above honesty. Like you got to be honest, even if it hurts.
Yeah.
Honesty is the best policy.
Yeah, I was looking at different traits and stuff when I was working on the family pillars a while back, and the word trustworthiness is like defined as honesty, integrity, and respectful. Like those are things that create trustworthy. Like if you say you're trustworthy, that person is honest, has high integrity, like those things. So, but I agree, those are good ones. Yeah, I think my number one would be God-fearing and really like having a relationship with God and knowing how to steward, God's blessings well, and being a leader and all that in regards to that. I agree. I'm right there with like trustworthiness and respectfulness and honesty, because that goes so far. And then I actually thought, those are the things I usually pray for, is that, because if you have God first, as we've talked about in these other things, everything falls into place.
It's like all encompassing.
Yeah.
So then what 3 traits would you want for a wife for our son?
I was just thinking that we're going to have to do that for him as well. So yeah, for a wife, I think it starts with the same thing, right? Like a God-fearing wife who knows the Bible and knows God, trustworthy. And I think, I think I would pray for a wife who's supportive and encouraging, like of him, and giving him the grace and the encouragement and stuff to make mistakes and learn and grow, but to encourage him and be there for him.
Be his helpmate.
Yeah. Be a what?
Helpmate.
Helpmate. Yeah.
That's the biblical.
Got it.
I mean, I'm sure it depends what translation, but
yeah,
that's what a wife is supposed to be.
For sure.
So, do you have a wife like that?
I do.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure.
I mean, we're still like, I feel like.
I mean, obviously nobody's perfect over here, okay, people?
No, I feel like I feel like I do. I just feel like we're both learning a lot in that first category.
Yeah.
Still, and have a lot to learn. And same back to me. Like I don't feel like I am as strong as a husband as I should be in a spiritual leadership role and God-fearing and all that, but I'm learning, and I'm continuing to focus on that area as the most important thing. So
yep,
I just hope that our future son-in-laws and daughter-in-laws have that grow, like that's already instilled in them.
Yeah. So they don't have to figure it out.
Yeah.
After the fact.
Yes, exactly.
Best advice for newlyweds. What's your best piece of advice for newlyweds?
I would say my advice would be intentionally communicate. And I say that in a sense of, I think people can say communicate, and that's like talking and stuff, but I think intentionality behind communication, meaning like plan, look up some great questions or some things that you can continue to touch base on so that it becomes a habit, so that as life becomes more and more chaotic through ups and downs and adding kids and all of that, you've built a foundation of communication and checking in on each other that will last you forever.
Yeah, I think we had a good foundation. I mean, obviously just 7 years before we ever even got married. So we knew each other quite well. But all those car rides, to and from college, really
amazing times.
We had a lot of times, and I used to love to have like the questionnaires, like on Pinterest, 50 plus questions to ask your boyfriend. Like,
no better way
ready?
to trap him in a car for 2.5 hours.
Exactly. No, but luckily as far
it.
as I know, you were into doing that too.
Yeah.
I mean, we used to talk on the phone for like 4 hours or whatever.
Yep.
All that. I think I would say just being a team and taking things on together. And, different things work for different couples, but I see couples that just have so much apart. Like they have like his life and her life and not really their life. And I personally just don't understand how that really works out too well. Like you said, we always are better together, and we have a lot more arguments and things stem from if we are on different paths. So, as long as you have the same goals in life that you're working towards, sometimes life circumstances just dictate that you're going to have more time apart or more time together, like different phases, different seasons, but having the same goals that you're working towards and working towards them together and trying to like everything you do is how is it advancing you toward the goal together?
That's good. That's a good question.
Thanks.
Who or what influenced your perception of relationships the most? So like what's good, what's bad, the expectations, and how has that changed over time?
I guess my parents, I would say. I don't feel like there was any certain thing that I'm remembering, at least, that was like formed how I was in regards to like dating and stuff like that. But
that's good.
I think I also just my personality, like you mentioned, I'm pretty decisive. For many years, like who knows how young I was starting this kind of stuff, but like I had lists of like requirements of future, boyfriends or whatever. Like he has to be this, that, and the other. So it's just like I always had.
What influenced you to have those lit? Like what drove you to put those things on that list? Just your perception?
Obviously you're influenced by books, movies, magazines, the people in your life that you see. Like I don't really know. You'd have to ask my mom if she knows, but I think just knew what I wanted. I'm a very like observant person too, so I probably just was always observing like from those things, books, movies, people in our lives, like that sort of thing.
Cosmo magazine, wasn't that like a big thing?
Yeah, like the quizzes of like stuff that you should not be reading when you're 12 or whatever. Like, like thinking back to some of the stuff in those magazines, it's like,
yeah,
that is not a teen, teen Vogue, and it's like these not teen topics. So our kids will not be having that.
No, definitely not.
But yeah, I don't have a specific like answer. I feel like you do based on asking the question.
No, I think it's similar. But before we get to mine, so like how have your expectations and things changed over time?
I'd have to refer to my list. Gotta find it.
I need to see how I match up against this list. Which ones did I check? Obviously enough to me marry. I'm surprised I didn't pull it out on
the wedding night.
Yeah.
Let's see. And the
engagement night.
Yeah.
I was going to say. Yeah. Will you marry me? Oh, hold on a minute.
Let me reference my list. No, obviously you
engaged quickly within under 5 years. No.
Yeah.
She was mad at me on their engagement. She wasn't mad at me. But
no, I wasn't mad on the night. But
yeah.
Probably leading up to it.
Yeah. Oops.
No, I don't think much has changed. I've always had high expectations, and I've never been willing to like lower them for anyone. Like the first quote unquote boyfriend that I had, he didn't check like any of the boxes, and so that's why he was gone real fast. And I was like, no, you No.
That's awesome.
So I know that I always had extremely high expectations.
Yep. That's good.
I was unwavering in those. So you obviously lived up to them.
Did it well enough?
Yes.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I was going to say, like, I think it's good that you had a lot of influence from, like, your parents and things. Like, I don't know if it's just the nature of boys and stuff, you're not talking as much. Like, it's not a thing that you talk about as much, not just with your parents, but with, like, friends and guys don't sit around and be like, should we do this? Should we, like,
oh yeah,
I like this girl.
All
like,
the notes back and forth that like me and my best friend have, like we had our own language practically of, just with girls is just, I mean, I would describe us as boy crazy in the sense of like that's all we thought about, talked about, wrote notes about, like was who each other liked and what they said, what they did.
Sounds stalkerish.
A little stalkerish.
That's awesome.
If you ever want to know what you were doing on a specific date, I can dig out the archives.
That's how you know what I was wearing and all that good stuff.
And I never told him. So we had like code names for people.
Yeah.
So that we could talk openly, like obviously. But I wouldn't tell him his until we got married.
That's right. You wouldn't.
And I told you after we on our honeymoon, I was like, you now can know your nickname.
That's right. You want to tell the people my nickname?
No.
Okay. All right.
It's privileged information.
That's right. Yeah, it's just interesting to like what shapes your perception of what I think we are. I think because boys don't talk as much, I think we're more influenced by the world around us and the things that we see. So like,
don't talk, don't think, like there's not a lot going on.
Yeah. Aren't you excited?
No, as a mother, I'm very excited for that. As a wife, I'm less excited about that.
No, yeah. So I think it's a lot of learning for guys. Like I think for us experiencing it, and I think that's why like maybe it is, I don't know, it's different. Like I think I learned things in my dating or whatever of just what the mechanics of a relationship, I guess. Things that work, things that don't work related to like
oh, that made her really mad, or that made her cry, or that made her happy. Like maybe that's why you needed to have more of those experiences.
No,
because,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Is like because we don't, I don't know, we just don't talk about it as much. Not to say that I didn't talk about it with guy friends or my parents or anything like that, but there wasn't clear direction on what should happen in like relationships per se. Yeah. So you had guardrails around things you shouldn't do, obviously. but yeah, like how and I think that's probably an argument that a lot of people go to of like against arranged marriages and all this. It's like you need experience to know what to do and all these things. And I say that's BS because I think
from the girl side, you absolutely don't need the experiences. We can have a lot of lived experiences all up here, and then we're ready for the real thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's just where like we just have to like be creative or think through what that looks like is for our son and others.
Well, isn't that so? One of our favorite comedians is Tom Papa. Like, Isn't that the Tom Papa joke? It's like girls grow up playing like oh, like, let's play married. And his joke is like, you go to the store and buy all the wrong things, and then when you get home, I'll yell at you. And guys are like, just
let's go shoot stuff, or
I don't know what y'all do, but it's not that.
Well, it's funny because we're having these conversations now because we're about to have a son, and like, like what do you do with
well, it is interesting because he's going to grow up with 2 older sisters, so I think that will influence him quite a bit.
Yes, that is true.
They'll be like ordering him around all the time.
Well, I think he'll get some good experiences and know what to expect with having another woman in his life. Yeah, so that'll be a blessing for him for sure. He's gonna have challenges and good and bad
for sure.
But anyway, that's what.
Interesting. Thanks so much for listening to part 1 of this conversation. Be sure to come back next week for part 2 as we talk more about our marriage, kids, and how to keep the spark alive. See See you next time.
God bless.